Travis Wayne Goodzone. We probably should start with a comment first. Cain, in part 2's Mormon hate comments, who's a Christian, calls himself Cain, the murderer of Abel, spelled with a K instead of the C. I had said some more stuff that I should cover. Pay attention to this, critics, Mormons. You cannot just spout off whatever you want to claim. You actually have to read and comprehend what you read. Otherwise, you come off as stupid. He tells me to read the Book of Mormon and be brainwashed into your wildest fantasy. In your wildest dreams. Theme song in the description below. Nights in white satin. That you, all caps, can have a harem of wives. But read the Book of Mormon and be brainwashed into your wildest fantasy that you can have a harem of wives to make spirit babies on your own planet. Oh, good, you put planet instead of sun. Because that's the important thing to get out of this. It's not that he's never even bothered to read the Book of Mormon. I dare anybody, and I am placing a bet, I will be silent on YouTube for the rest of eternity. I will give up all my property, go to the streets, and die. If you can find anywhere in the Book of Mormon that supports as a good thing from God for polygamy, what were you going to do if you can't find polygamy? Place your bets now. I'm willing to die, commit suicide for violating my temple covenants. I never make a bet unless I know I can win. The Book of Mormon condemns polygamy 6 times. 6. 6, 6. The number of the beast. Hell and fire going on tonight. In your wildest dreams, maybe the Book of Mormon is actually correct. Dumbass alert. Dumbass. So, you as a critic, are you making things up, claiming them to be true? Demanding that other people believe you and mocking them if they don't believe your lie? Are you, as a Mormon, making things up about the church, about Joseph, about the Book of Mormon, and mocking those who will not believe you, or sending hate comments, calling them apostate Korah whores? See, Christians call you Cain. Mormons call you Korah whore. Dumbass. You gotta read, and you gotta comprehend what you read. Dear God. So, as we'll begin to make our exit from the internet and YouTube, let's see what YouTube recommends for me when I'm not signed out. Yoshiki Under the Sky, coming to US and UK theaters. Some guy named Travis Wayne Goodsell. Mormon ignorance of Mormonism leads to hate speech, which leads to violence, part 2. Well, that sounds intelligent. But only 10 views in 1 hour. Well, I guess nobody cares. It must be stupid. Avril Lavigne's Hello Kitty. Sexy Mean Girls on Broadway. That was hilarious. And then a model fashion show. And then another celebrity model fashion show. So YouTube's improving with their algorithms. Takes time, but eventually they're getting it. So we'll go back on memory lane here before we get to the United States as the Book of Mormon has been fulfilled. That's what we're talking about. That's what the title of the video is about. I went on my mission to the New York mission back in 1998. May 17th, I went into the MTC. 2 weeks later, out into the field that was white, all ready to be burned. My first companion was Elder Gale, and we were there for a month in that June until I sent him home that month. My first companion, and he's going home. I would come back from my mission and move to Utah, find him as the manager who was finishing his time because Walmart was closing down that store on State Street. That little Walmart store on State Street. And he, I think, was going to be moved down south, from what he was saying might be the case. But yeah, I got to tell him that I've since gotten divorced, and she took the kids to Canada, and I'm poor and ruined, and so he felt like he was to blame. Or he was, oh, you're now an apostate Korihor, I need to stay away from you and disown you. And then another day, I was going to the it's Big Smith's, there by the Jordan River Temple. And as I was walking in, a guy in a big, humongous monster truck pulls up, blocks the entrance, and gets out of his vehicle, and it's Horsley, Elder Horsley from the New York mission, who was, I almost had his name and I couldn't catch it. He and his companion were there in the same district as I was when I started my mission in Massapequa Park. And they were well known for being the apostate Korihors of the mission, just fooling around, wasting their time there, and the excuse was that their bishops believed that a mission would change them. So they sent them on the mission to change them, and it didn't work. But he comes up to me and is boasting and bragging about how successful he was for having served the mission. With his big fancy truck, he's got a wife and kids, and he's working construction, as Utah was big on construction back in those days, setting up for the Olympics in 2002. And here I was saying, yeah, divorced. She kidnapped the kids and fled the country to Canada and took all my possessions. And so, yeah, Horsley felt vindicated. You were the goody-goody on your mission, and I was the... And now it's switched around. I'm prosperous, and you're a failure. Yay! And so, yeah, I understand that he might not be in as prosperous a situation as he thinks he was back then. But at the Pleasure Dome, it was under Miyazaki, who was my second companion, who likewise was going home that month. 3 companions for the first 3 months, all going home. Barton really had it in for me. But yeah, I was in the Pleasure Palace, as we called it. Others would call it the Pleasure Dome, from the Mad Max movie, Beyond the Pleasure Dome, something like that. Which I could use that in the theme song in the description below too, but we'll use Wildest Dreams because that was first. And because we were in the Pleasure Dome, Pleasure Palace, the landlord of the house, which our room was the loft in the attic that was modeled into an apartment for missionaries, he gave us HBO. As long as we, mowed the lawn and did some other stuff around the house. And we were right there on the other side of the fence, as the entrance into the parking lot was right there at our house, to the shopping mall that was there. And of course, we had to walk clear across the shopping mall, cross the street to get to the grocery store that was clear across that parking lot. So it was quite a long walk to get groceries. We didn't have a car. We didn't have bikes. Elder Gale had a bike and said that I should get a bike because I'm going to need it. Yeah, with what money? Creole Colford, who came in that July, was eventually would go on to take away the little money that we did have in the very expensive New York mission. Things were run differently financially back then, as my parents were strict obedient and only gave me what they were told to give me, nothing more. And yet every other missionary, all other missionaries, because they couldn't survive on the money that we had, all got extra money from home, except me. And so I ended up losing 50 pounds of body mass as a teenager. 50 pounds. I literally was living off of Little Debbie's. Didn't have enough money for anything else. And the money that I had, yeah, it was from the coins I found while walking the pavement, going door to door. And so in July, on the 21st, 1989, there was a pay-per-view boxing match between Mike Tyson and Carl Williams. This was the first time I heard about this guy named Mike Tyson. I would then go on to hear about how he bit off some guy's ear and then beat and divorced his wife. And then would go to jail, prison. And so this was my first introduction to Mike Tyson, my first ever watching of a boxing match. I had known about it, I'd seen the stuff about Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, and how great he was as a boxer, and some of the other great boxers in history, but I'd never actually watched a boxing match. I'd seen the WWE, not the same. And so it was Horsley and his companion who knew about it and knew that we had HBO. And this would have been under the Polynesian, who was the third of the going home that month. Or no, it was still Miyazaki. Because June was Gale and July would have been Miyazaki. So yeah, it's still Miyazaki. And they come over and say they'll pay for it because it's pay-per-view. And Miyazaki agreed. He's new and going home, but it's first time in the Pleasure Dome. And they're about to go home. So they wanted to watch it before they went home. And so, yeah, they arranged to have the pay-per-view event. And I'm there. Okay, this mission is awesome. Best mission ever. And we're sitting down. We got they do, the chips and dips and all that stuff for the event. And they come over early and talking about how they were supposed to do some split and they bailed on it or something like that. And, we watched the pregame show hype and all that stuff. And it goes on for an hour or 2 or 3. And then the boxing match begins. And then 93 seconds later, Tyson hits Carl Williams. He falls to the ground, and it's called. It was Tyson's second quickest title fight after his 91-second victory over Michael Spinks the previous year. Yep, all that money that Horsley and almost had it again, and his companion had spent to watch it on HBO. It was only 93 seconds. Yep, talked about your con jobs. Yep. So, yeah. Something from my history that made history. And I'm sharing it with you. In the Book of Mormon, chapter 8, verse 33. O ye wicked and perverse and stiff-necked Mormons, why have you built up the church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints unto yourselves to get gain for the prophets? Why have you transfigured the Book of Mormon into another testament of Jesus Christ, that you might bring damnation upon your souls? Behold, look ye unto the revelations in the Book of Mormon of God. For behold, the time cometh at that latter day when all the Book of Mormon revelations and prophecies must be fulfilled. Third Nephi, chapter 7. Verse 2. And the people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another into tribes, every man according to his family and his kindred and his friends, and thus they destroy the government of the land. And every tribe did appoint a chief or a leader over them, and thus they became tribes and leaders of tribes. Verse 5, Now all this was done, and there was no wars as yet among them, and all this iniquity had come upon them, upon the people, because they did yield themselves unto the power of Satan. And the regulations of the government were destroyed because of the secret combination, the Council for National Policy, led by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, of the friends and kindreds of those who murdered Joseph and Hiram Smith. And great was the contention in the land, insomuch that the more righteous part of the people had nearly all become wicked. Yea, there were but few righteous men among them. And there's the dog to the vomit. And a secret combination which had brought so great iniquity upon the people did gather themselves together, and did place at their head a man whom they did call Trump. And they did call him their king. Therefore he became a king over his wicked band, and he was one of the chiefest who had given his voice against the prophecies of the Jews. He's the chosen one. Someone had to do it. Is the Book of Mormon true, Mormons? Or are you now doubting that the Book of Mormon is not true, that I'm twisting the scriptures? It's another testament of Jesus. And so, back in the 2020 election, I created a map of the Second Civil War divided states. And Arizona was flip-flopping back at that time. And so I put the GOP elephant with the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. They make it obvious for you, and you deny it? And showed the divided tribes of the United States of America with the various governors. And so yesterday's election was covered mostly in the news as a decision over abortion rights for women, not about women's rights per se. It is not about abortion for women, whether they can have it or not. That is not the argument. That's a distraction from the real argument. Because it's about whether women are to have rights or whether a fetus is to have rights. Because you can't have rights for both. It's either one or the other. And the 14th Amendment already decided to give women rights, not a fetus. All who are born or naturalized are citizens and therefore have equal rights. And so you can plug this into any other controversy in the United States of America. LGBTQIA+. Do they need extra rights and laws to protect them? No. 14th Amendment, Section 1. Just like for women. What about blacks? What about them? 14th Amendment, Section 1. What about others like Asians or Mexicans or Latinos or Hispanics or others? Maybe those Canadians. Already covered. Born and naturalized. You get rights. So that you don't get shot in the back when you're unarmed by a police officer. Where is police officers in the Constitution, by the way? Blacks are in the Constitution. I don't see police. See, if you know the history of police, they came from a sheriff's department, which was a security guard company protecting the railroads, the banks that were transporting the money through the trains. As Utah is celebrating the slavery of Chinese Americans who built the railroad by having them go there and reenact their slavery. Oh my God, and the news doesn't see how abominable they are. And how abominable the government is for pulling this stunt. It is not something to celebrate. It is a shame on America what we did. Shanghai Nights. Jackie Chan covers that. The princess must be saved. And you can actually pee on a thing to bend the bars of the prison. Good times. And so, it's amazing how everybody wants to disobey and not follow the Constitution, but claim that they do. And so thus, Americans draw near to the Constitution with their lips, but their hearts are far from it. All of these laws, as you go over each of the Bill of Rights amendments, the First Amendment, all of the violations for that, as people are trying to get laws passed for religion or against religion. No, that's the First Amendment says no more laws. Not for or against religion. This is it. That's all. You're free. Enjoy it. Nothing else. And yet the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is pushing the religious freedom movement to change the laws of the United States in violation of that First Amendment. And they succeeded. They got Congress to pass the Disrespect for Marriage Act. That was the church who did that. That was their exemption clause. They got those GOP to say, oh, okay, yeah, now I can approve this. And so it was real sad last night to see all of these states distracted by thinking that they have restored abortion rights for women, purposely ignoring the bigger problem, purposely ignoring that they are causing Marjorie Taylor Greene's call for a national divorce. Because the Supreme Court, well, they're the Supreme Court. They overthrew Roe v. Wade in violation of the 14th Amendment, Section 1. They were supposed to be removed from office because of Section 3. America has been cooed. America is divided. And now you have states that are for abortion or against abortion. And it has nothing to do with that. It's about women. MAGA has said the fetus must be given rights. And so likewise, the Second Amendment, the Supreme Court, everybody's concerned now because of their not being removed from office for their seditious conspiracy. They're now going to decide if convicted domestic abusers, not pre-crime, known domestic violent criminals who've been judged and sentenced and had been in prison, if they now, as domestic violence, can own their Second Amendment rights to guns, which has nothing to do with possession of guns. It's the militia. Where is the militia? Did it have something to do with the police that used to be the sheriff's department who were security guards? Oh, no, Travis. It's the National Guard that's now the militia. Really? Where's that amendment in the Constitution to make that change? And so, yes, the Supreme Court will now decide if domestic violence persons can have own a gun in their new marriage after their oh my God. And I saw in the news over the last week about how Utah, they have over 100 who have been sentenced to sex crimes and are supposed to register on the sex offender registry and just aren't. And so women are grouping together to track them down. Because our government won't do it. God. And so, yes, also I saw in the news this morning, Tlaib finally got shut up. Her First Amendment freedom of speech violated. And she's crying. You're not supposed to take away my freedom of speech. It's religious freedom. It's a holy war against Israel, and I have the right to call for their genocidal extermination and blame them. No pity whatsoever for a terrorist in Congress. Yeah, it's not just MAGA, is it? We are divided, and not a single person wants to follow the Constitution. But again, serves my point. People don't care about the constitutional rights. They keep trying to change them to get their specific rights for their people. You do not have the right to take away other people's rights. You do not have the right to commit crime. You do not have the right to support or commit terrorism or seditious conspiracy or treason. This is not complicated, but the enemy has succeeded in making it complicated. Oh, the war in Israel is very complicated. The long history, and oh no. No, it's real simple. God damn America. God damn you all to hell. Planet of the Apes. A legend. And so there you have it. Book of Mormon warned you, Mormons. But you think this is literal history, setting it up for Jesus' second coming to America of the Nephites. Not the learning of the Jews' Christ who's going to come in the latter days. And so, yeah, Ohio, they're going, yay! Democracy won out! Women now have rights. But Mississippi, oh no, the Republican governor won. So bye-bye to rights for women in Mississippi. In Kentucky, yeah, the Democrat governor won. So rights in Kentucky are preserved. God, nobody cares about the Constitution. Anybody remember the title of liberty? Captain Moroni? What was that all about again? Literal history, huh? So it's not a revelation or a prophecy of the latter-day event. Mormons draw near to the Book of Mormon with their lips, but they don't believe a goddamn word of it. Anti-Semites all. Other things I should add for this video is you've got a big truck making noise outside. Utah election on the 21st, because of the special election that's involved. They merged them together for that reason. I'm still waiting for my ballot, new person. The Senate, remember, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is overthrowing the government. So they're tampering with political leaders to get their way in altering the Constitution. And so Uchtdorf met with the 3 Mormon boys in the Senate. And I warned you to pay attention to what's going on in the news as to what the Senate is deciding on. And then the Relief Society went after Senator Blackburn. Because Uchtdorf can't be seen with a female. But regardless, the Senate is also, on top of the 2 others that I've already told you about, for Uchtdorf to tell those Mormon boys what to vote for. Also, yeah, the Senate is now hearing about YouTube and other social media sites causing harm to children as addiction, because Nelson said so. He's a living prophet of Jesus, which means it's Jesus, not Nelson. And that it's a mental impairment, remember? It's no longer about health. It just keeps changing the name. It all means the same thing. Mental health, mental impairment, mental disability, mental retardation, mental disease, illness. It's all the same. Psychology is the evil fraud doing the hypnotizing. Oh, dear God. And so, yes, that's also what Uchtdorf would have been pushing those 3 Mormon boys in the Senate to also make sure it gets passed. That YouTube, who've already forced us as creators to flip the switch to say we are not doing videos for children, rather than children saying, I am a child, only give me videos that is appropriate for my age. Nope, we as creators have to go and flip the switch and say that my adult content videos are not for kids. And even still, YouTube gets creators like the news lately that graphic about the war. They make it so that kids can't watch the news, as you have to be signed in to watch graphic news content, not just female porn, when we as adults already sign in as adults and we clicked on the video to watch the content. Or they made the video as an adult saying not for kids. And YouTube still won't back off. But now the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in conjunction with many other MAGA states, are now threatening all social media channels to create a blacklist, or as the TV show Rabbit Hole told us, a Shared Data Act, so that people can be tracked as to what they search for on social media, what they listen to. And so, yes, you think you're hiding your identity from me? Not anymore. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will know that you're secretly watching me. I noticed YouTube this morning added another 10 ghost subscribers. It's just abominable. So, I think that now covers it.